There are two forms of Feldenkrais. One is the awareness through movement lesson, which are group where the teacher guides you verbally. You're not looking at anybody else, so you can't assess, are you doing well? You've got to do it all based on how you're moving and what your judgment is. And it takes a long time for people to get over that issue. They want to be able to get a reward. And they want it from somebody else. And it's rare that you'll hear a Feldenkrais teacher saying, "Well done, Jane. You did that really well." Instead, they're saying, "And how do you feel? What did you learn from that?" And some people in class want to stick their hand up and say, "This is what I learned." But it really doesn't matter if the teacher knows you learned anything. It doesn't matter if anybody in the class, it never matters in the class if anybody else in the class knows you've learned something. It really matters that you've learned something. So that's a hard thing for people who think, "Oh, I'm in a lesson, so I can be the star of the lesson." No, you are the star of the lesson. So is the person beside you, and so is the person beside them, and so is the person who has fallen asleep in the lesson. They're learning too. They learned that they were really tired, and given 5 minutes of lying on a floor, they were out. So everybody learns, but they all learn something different. And that makes it pretty radical in terms of a learning experience. So, as I mentioned, there's the awareness through movement classes, and they're groups, and that's very cost effective for people. It's also very empowering to people. But there are many times where self-learning isn't going to be enough. So, in the functional integration form of Feldenkrais, I get people to relax on a table, and I move them to the point that they're surprised by the fact that their body does the movement, with me not huffing and puffing. And you can tell, I'm no strong man. I don't lift weights. I do lift legs. And what's amazing is how much people change with my doing slow, gentle, very simple movements. It is extremely unusual for somebody to come off a table going, "Oh, I felt like I was stretched." But it's very common for people to get off the table going, "I feel lighter, I feel taller. How did you do that?" And I don't do anything other than move them. It's not me, it's their body. Feldenkrais encourages you to move without judgment, but with understanding.